What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk a little bit more about Star Wars Outlaws. The news just keeps on coming, and, IGN is obviously doing the first feature for this game. We got about 10 minutes of footage, and it was actually a little rocky. That footage, I don't know if it was the greatest showing of this game, but much like we've been doing with Star Wars Outlaws, for every time we see it and it looks a little iffy, we have like 10 things that they're saying. I mean, actually, we're only going to look at a couple here, but a few things that they say that are really cool sounding. So as I continue to say, this game just needs to come together because it kind of seems up and down when we actually see it, but all the mechanics that seemingly are in the game and maybe all kind of come together when the game comes out sound incredibly cool. So let's go through just some of the stuff that I saw, because along with the IGN first thing, more creators got to play the game. There's more previews. They're talking about different elements of the game. First thing I want to look at is just a tweet from Twitter that's kind of like the back end stuff. Ubisoft tells investors they expect a strong launch and positive community sentiment for Star Wars Outlaws. The game also has their biggest ever marketing campaign for a game, which includes their largest preview event. Creators and press had a chance to go hands-on last week to see the extent of the open world. Again, the last part's obvious because of all the impressions and the articles and the videos and all that stuff that are out on it. And, the first two, I've kind of talked a little bit about that, where I feel it seems pretty obvious that Outlaws, Ubisoft really needs/wants to do incredible, right? You look at even just the amount of time they spent on, I feel like that's like the easiest way to kind of approach it, right? When they did their Ubisoft Forward back in June, half the event, they did like multiple trailers. They would do a trailer, come out and talk, do another trailer, then show gameplay. I mean, it just didn't end. So it feels very much like they are going all in on this game. And I mean, that's a big risk reward, right? Because you can say, well, they have a lot of confidence on it, and, they know it's going to sell well. I think the game is going to sell really well, but I still think in terms of the quality, it could go either way. But it's clear I don't know if they need it to do like unbelievable numbers, but I would imagine, and we've said it before, if they can have 2 months, not necessarily back to back, but you could have late August going into September, and then, well, really almost, yeah, and then you have November for Assassin's Creed. If you could have like 2 of those 4 months be dominated sales-wise from your games, Ubisoft would be looking at a pretty good financial quarter, or maybe 2 financial quarters, depending on how everything shakes out. So just wanted to throw that one in there. I want to talk about this article from Games Radar. They did a nice little preview, but I want to kind of skip, because the beginning part was more about recruiting or finding. If you remember, the game is actually kind of clever when it comes to like abilities and stuff, where you have to search people out that have stuff that you want to kind of learn, right? And you have to do stuff for them. So that was the beginning of the preview. I want to look at the end of it, though. They talk about the endings and kind of like choices and things like that. So they say, early on, we knew that we wanted to tell a strong story, so we didn't want 5 different endings. We wanted some continuity to Kay's story. But at the same time, we wanted a strong element of choice, and we felt like navigating the different syndicates, playing them against each other, betraying them, being betrayed yourself sometimes, was the most scoundrelly thing that we could do to offer an element of choice. So that's kind of the inception of the reputation system. One such thing are contracts, which you can take on in the open world to earn some favors with the syndicates. And they say contracts offer a way to fix your mistakes. There are many different contract brokers in the galaxy who need a smuggler or a thief, basically someone just like Kay, and these workers hand out jobs on behalf of the syndicates. So this is a great way for Kay to work her way back up from bad or a poor reputation. If she's in a bit of a hole with the reputation, becomes someone that the syndicate leaders will trust enough to give more important and higher paying jobs. Once you've completed a job, there's always the opportunity to play the underworld. You'll have the choice to betray your employer. You can hand the goods over to someone else, always at the risk of hurting your reputation with whoever employed you in the first place. And again, I mean, those 3-4 paragraphs, right? That's what I like to hear. Like, that sounds very interesting to me. It's how it comes together, because I think the premise is very cool, right? You have a reputation. You can kind of go wild. If you get yourself in too much trouble, there are easy ways in the game, which are, these kind of mini contracts, right, to get you out of it. Now, the issue is, is it accidental? Can you accidentally get your reputation bad when you're not even trying to? That might frustrate you. Then, can these contracts not be all that engaging? Are they fetch quests, whatever? And they might be fetch quests, right? Because they might literally just be easy ways to raise your reputation to kind of fix what you messed up like an hour ago in the game, right? So they're maybe not meant to be the most in-depth in the first place, but then, okay, well, how do the mechanics actually work, right? So again, I like to hear this stuff. We haven't really seen this though, like the things we see are kind of, hey, here's a mission, go to this place, take out a couple guards, go here, talk to this person, get this thing, go back. In which, I mean, like a glorified fetch quest is really that 10-minute IGN thing, which is not bad, but it's like, I really want to see this stuff. This is the stuff that, and maybe they're not going to show it. Maybe this is the stuff that you just have to experience the world and have these things kind of happen to you, which would be fine because you kind of trust it, I guess. You got to throw a little trust their way, and you hope that it kind of works out at the end. So that's the second thing I wanted to do. The third thing is I want to talk again about the wanted system. So we've heard about the wanted system before, that it can kind of get crazy, that, we've speculated, okay, well, when you get to like the highest wanted level, and because they've said like they're going to send some pretty special things your way to kind of deal with you. And, is that Darth Vader? Does that make sense? Probably not Vader, but maybe like an Inquisitor. Like, could they send an Inquisitor out to get you if you get to the highest, wanted system rating? So those are things we talked about in the past, but from Tech Radar, they did an article where they specifically talked about the wanted system. So let's read some of this. It's definitely a lot of fun to kind of bring it, the wanted level, to level 6 and then see if you can survive it. And spoiler alert, it's very difficult, especially at the beginning of the game, but it's kind of an end game challenge to yourself. It works really well. Also, it's quite a difference of experience depending on which planet you're actually on, because the Empire has different presence on different planets and space. Same thing with the syndicates. The developer continued saying that the player can get themselves caught up in chaotic situations where multiple syndicates will hunt you down if you have a terrible reputation with them, as well as the Empire. So that's kind of the ultimate open world playground type of self-imposed challenge, because if you push it that far, you're really looking for it. But yeah, we have mechanisms in place for you to get out of a bad spot. We have different tools for you to fix your reputation, getting contracts, which we talked about. There's data that the syndicates are interested in that you can trade against reputation. So there are many ways for you to get out of a tough spot, but if you want to challenge yourself, you can. And they also said, although, you can have a bad reputation with the Empire, you can never have a good one, and that was a hard line where they didn't want Kay to be a partner with the Empire whatsoever, since it's the ruling power, and Kay is a scoundrel, and they say they're trying to be the law, and you're trying to be the element of chaos, so we felt like matching them was a really fun way to play with a scoundrel archetype, and it also opened up a lot of emergent types of moments. So again, things I really like to hear, like, basically, well, number one, like 6 wanted levels, that's taking it a step further. But number 2, having multiple systems in play, right? Where it's like you could have the Empire after you, and you could have X syndicate name after you, right? Or you could have the Empire and 2 syndicates, or 2 syndicates and not the Empire. And again, these sound very cool. And I guess that does circle back to what we just talked about, right? Is it overplayed? Like, how do you get to it? You have to balance the contracts in, like, kind of easy ways to get out of that situation, ways of, like they say, trading information, basically, to lower your wanted level. Sounds very, very cool. And to be honest with you, the wanted level is something that I think I would push almost immediately just to kind of see what happens, right? And that's a luxury, I guess they would, allow us to do. So let me know what you guys think about these things in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.